We've got some fresh
Hey, I'm Luis.
And
I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more on how to turn that content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah.
Go to contentisprofit.com.
That's right. What are we talking about today, Fuzzy?
How to tap into an 85 million audience.
85 million people? Really?
People audience.
Is that even
New
possible?
audience. Yeah.
I think it's possible.
I don't think I wrote that down properly, if I'm being honest. But it's a cool topic, guys.
It's all this Italian that you're learning is messing your English up, man.
It's messing my English and my Spanish.
Guys, before we get started, please go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button so you know when those episodes drop on your phone. And follow us on social media at BizBrosCo everywhere.
That's right. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you will, don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you in advance.
So, today we have a good friend as a guest. He's a man with a mission, but more on that later. We connected with him after a Facebook group Zoom call. I'm telling you guys, put yourself out there. You'll meet some amazing people. Super random, but he has a pretty cool Italian last name.
I had to put that in there.
You had to put that in there.
Today's incredible guest is on a mission to make the internet accessible to 100% of people. What makes it super interesting is that through his work, he's serving people with disabilities. In my opinion, he is a real-life superhero.
Another fun fact, he has been an entrepreneur for 30 years. And now he's transitioning to the online world in which he is already making an impact. He assists his clients in making their websites ADA compliant to make them accessible for people with disabilities. Oh, and let's not forget, he recently started his own 45 Live Challenge. Let's go!
We are so pumped up, guys. Please give a warm welcome to today's guest and good friend, the ADA Comply Guy, 45 Live Challenger, and il nostro amico, Tony Caggiano! What's up, Tony? Yes. Ciao, benvenuto, come
Benvenuto al
stai?
Content is Profit.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I love it, man. Tony, welcome to the show, man. This is so exciting to have you on here.
Oh, it is a blast to be here, guys. Thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for allowing me to put this Italian spice in the episode. I'm so excited. Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we were chatting, behind cameras, Tony, and it's 2 weeks of him trying to speak Italian, and I'm like in flow mode, working, getting stuff done, and he turns around, he's like, how do I say blah, 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 blah in Italian? I'm like, I don't remember, dude. I lived in Italy like 20 years ago.
You guys, you guys will see in like 6 months, I'll make a full episode in Italian. You'll see that.
Absolutely. We'll check back with you in 6 months and see how you're doing.
That's right.
Thank you, Tony. You're gonna hold us accountable. Oh my God, I need some coffee today. Anyways, dude, Tony. So, what a fascinating topic. We met on these Facebook Zoom call, different communities going around, and during these COVID times, it's so important that connection, right? And we had a chat. And you had something really interesting that really caught my attention. And it's like, hey, you want to make internet accessible for 100%. And in my mind, I'm like, well, internet is accessible for 100% of the people. But no.
Wait. I'm going to intervene there. My thought was internet is not accessible to 100% of people because there's people that don't have connection of internet, right?
For the people that have the internet.
And I think that's where like most people's thoughts go to. It's like, oh, we need to give people that don't have a connection to the internet, access to the internet. But then,
there you
what
go.
you were going to say.
Thank you, Fonzie, for the translation.
You're welcome.
All right. But, you touched on a really interesting point that because I don't experience it personally, I don't see it. And maybe a lot of business owners out there are in my same position and they might be missing out in a lot of things. So we'll dive into that. But before that, Tony, like, who are you? Like, I know that you've been an entrepreneur for a ton of time. tell us a little bit about yourself and, what do you do now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Well, I mean, like you said, I've been in this entrepreneur game for a long time, 30 plus years. I don't know how many exactly, so I don't want to date myself too bad. But, I was a kid when I got started. I was always fascinated with the idea of doing something and making money in return. I didn't come from a rich family. I mean, we weren't poor by any means anyway either, but I always had this drive inside of me. And I think, some people ask, are you born an entrepreneur or do you learn it? And, I guess some people are born with this drive inside of them. And I think that was just me from the very beginning. And, from there, I've done so many things we don't have enough time on this show to go through them all. But
I mean, I thought we agreed to a 24-hour content marathon
all right,
here.
hey, if that's the case, then, I'll start from there. So no, I used to do a lot of odd jobs and a lot of different things. I started out cutting grass as a kid when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I really turned my hobbies into a passion for, doing business and really earning money. I did things such as I used to buy four-wheelers when I was a teenager. I used to buy broken four-wheelers, fix them up, and sell them to all my friends.
Yeah.
And then, from there, I actually went on to start my own DJ business in high school. And that is really what helped me throughout the years really expand, because I didn't have to go work at McDonald's in college. I had, a great weekend job, and I went to college, and it just grew from there. I was able to invest in real estate and grow that, and just a lot of different things as an entrepreneur through the years, which helped me. What helped me along the way was self-improvement and really investing in myself, because I didn't know everything right off the bat, and so I just learned along the way and just kept investing in myself. So that's really what drove me to. Over the years, start businesses, grow them, and not all of them were successful. I learned a lot from a lot of my failures, and we'll go into that a little bit in one of my stories. But it really helped me along the way to learn from my failures and learn to learn from my failures too. So,
love it.
Kept me driven.
I think lately in the show we've been like diving super deep into the mindset and all these like things that happened before the thing that we do now, right? And I love that it's not the first try. I love that it's many times. We were chatting on a conversation earlier, and it was like, from reselling our t-shirts to then creating our t-shirts, and the people on the other side, do you guys still do that? And we're like, absolutely not. We hate the process. So that was the lesson there. Like, you gotta love the process. And with you, from selling four-wheelers to a DJ to real estate investor, like so many things, and I'm sure like you picked different things and learned so much from these experiences, from like these things that you did, that now you can bring it into your now business, right? So what are along the way, what have been like some challenges like that you thought, oh my gosh, this is it, like I'm done, like I don't want to do this anymore, and why you chose to continue?
Well, I mean, I think it just came to a point where, I love trying new things. And, as a DJ, I was a wedding DJ for 22 years. And so that one got to a point where, I had started a family, I had young kids, and it was taking up all my time on the weekend, plus prep work during the week, meeting with the couples. Yeah. So I think I just got to a point where I needed a change and needed to find something that better fit my lifestyle at that point. And I started realizing that a lot of the businesses that I was doing, I was trading my time for money, and I needed to really learn the next step on how to monetize something and make it work for me in the background, which kind of led me to where I am today and learning, the online digital world and creating a business that can, work for me instead of me working in the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's you. I just need to throw this out here, but Tony, with your DJ expertise, we are going to need you to do a collab in the Content is Profit playlist that Catherine Jones actually created for the show. Yeah, it's gonna be a must, just so you know.
We'll definitely be there in the action.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after the show. But I'm just putting it out there so we don't forget.
True that.
So,
That's so awesome. So I love how, you looked at the lifestyle that you wanted to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you studied what was going on in the business right there, that I guess the friction points, right? That don't allow you to have what you want. So, and for that was the trading the time for money. And a lot of people, I think at the starting point, especially in this business, we tend to do that. We're like, okay, I'll do that service, I'll do this. And it's really challenging to really scale from there because there's not a mind shift. How do you achieve that mind shift? Like, how do you go from point A to point B and actually start executing to scale?
good question. I think it's all about, when I go into something, I realize ahead of time that I don't know everything I need to know in order to be super successful. So, what I try to do, and I've learned this over the years, it did not come naturally by any means, is, when I go into something and I know I don't know what to do, I really have to go and focus on the one thing and study it and learn it and get to that point where I can say, okay, I'm really familiar with this point, this topic, I'm going to execute this and make sure it works and then move on to the next level. I think you and I talked, the three of us talked about, the Lego blocks, the building blocks and going from there. So really knowing what you need to do, take it one step at a time, and then just keep adding on to it in order to get to that next level of success.
Yeah, that's pretty important. I relate that to probably one of the biggest lessons we've learned in the last couple of months, which is focusing the problem that you have right in front of you. And then once you solve that one, move on to the next one. Because sometimes we just tend to complicate our life by just like focusing on that one big problem, like 150 steps away.
Yeah.
And we fail to see the one that is right in front of us. And we are, thinking of problems that we might not even come across at the end of the day. So I do believe that it's probably one of the most important lessons that we've learned in our entrepreneurial journey. And I am curious, Tony, because when I was writing the intro, right, like I was looking at some of your info, and you said that you've always had this like philanthropic nature in your business, in yourself. So I'm trying to put this together, but like, how did you get into the ADA compliance space? How did the whole philanthropic movement, right, started within you wanting to help other people? And then was that what led to the ADA Comply guy?
Well, back, when I was a younger entrepreneur, I had some success, and I was asked to work with the Special Olympics. And, I got wholeheartedly involved in working with them. I just felt like I wanted to give back. And that's one of the reasons why today, even, I try to help other entrepreneurs. I want to give back because there was a lot of people along my journey so far that have reached out and helped me without asking a return. And I really feel the need to, reciprocate and give back. And one of the ways that I love giving back, and one of the ways that I've become successful and rich, even more than how money can give me riches, is really the feeling that I get when I help others that need help in some way. And one of those great things that, for me has really given back is being able to be involved with people with special needs. Back even earlier when I was in Boy Scouts, I worked with a troop that had a special needs troop and got really involved with a lot of the boys there and young men. And it just kind of carried on throughout the years. And, when I met my wife, she had a lot of the same mindset. She was a social worker and always helping people. And throughout the years, she's even put together some things that I've helped her with. She put together a clothing drive for our local schools in North Carolina, because we found our kids were going to school with kids that would come in the wintertime to school in pajamas with no coats because they had no clothes. So she took it upon herself to go out there and create this clothing drive and really and help thousands of kids literally in our area. So it's really a part of what we do. I don't want to do business if I can't do something that's at the same time going to help people. And when this opportunity came to me, I'm like, okay, I can not only help my end customer, my business owner, to help them become ADA compliant, protect them from the regulations and things, but also help a whole community that needs these tools on their website, and help the community of different abled people.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that is impressive. I mean, first of all, I love it. I love and I relate to the feeling of when you're giving back and you're helping others. That feeling, it is empowering, and I'm not to put it in like a selfish way, but like sometimes like giving back like that, you do it for yourself as well sometimes, because like it feels good, and it gives you kind of like, I took this term from this book that I read recently. It's called the Courage to be Disliked. And he talks about having that feeling of worth, like being part of a community. And being part of a community is because you're getting that feeling that you're worth something, right? And I feel that giving to other people, that exchange of, hey, I'm like helping you out, right? It gives us that and make us feel more alive, if you want to put it that way. So I love that, and I love the fact that you kind of like find a way to mix them both with your new business, which is, I can help my clients, but at the same time, I'm helping, this subsection of society that they need help, right? And maybe they haven't been catered to, especially in the online world.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, in building this business, I'm also reaching out kind of like a philanthropic nature to the disabled community and being an advocate for them, all at the same time, and it's really a great feeling to be able to do something like that. And, we're all out there to, as marketers and as business owners, we're there to build a business. We're there to make money. And what we do with that money is that's another topic, but I'd love to give back and donate money as well. But by being able to do what I do and what I love to do, and it also empowers and helps this other subset, of the disabled community, then it's just a win-win for everybody, including myself. Like you said, it may be selfish, but I feel really good about myself, and we're all human. I mean, we want to do things that make ourselves feel good as well. And, I am guilty of that. I love the way I feel when I'm out there helping other people.
I love it. So to me, it really struck me. Like, it was like, wow, like this is when you were describing it, right? Like the compliance, like how do we do that? Well, first it's like, what are some of the disabilities that a lot of people kind of oversee on their websites or on their online presence? What are some of the things that we normally see? Because I have no idea. I'm literally asking this for myself. I want to learn, and I hope the audience does too. But like, this is completely unknown, and that's why it caused me such a shock. Because first off, we do believe that everybody that's advertising, everybody that's pushing their message out there has true value, right? Tony, you publish because you know that what you do is going to help a ton of people. We publish because what we do is going to help a ton of people too. So I'm missing an opportunity here big time to help other people, right? So what are some of the things that you started to see? Why the compliance? Like, why? Like, what are you seeing that people are missing?
Well, I mean, to answer it in a way of what we're missing really is, the statistic in the U.S. alone is that 1 in every 4 to 5 people has some kind of disability that hinders them from, using the web to the fullest. Let's put it that way. A lot of people are like, okay, well, these tools are for the blind. Well, if they're blind, they can't see the screen. How can they use the tools? Well, it goes far beyond that. And there's it's legitimately, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but ignorance on the part of people if they don't know something. And that's why I'm out there trying to educate and let people understand that, there are people that are legally blind that can still see somewhat. And there are a lot of different types of visual impairments out there, like glaucoma, cataracts. My mother, she's older, she has macular degeneration. I had never heard of that until she got that. And so, those are some of the things that people think about when you're saying, okay, well, we're making the website accessible to people. Well, it goes far beyond visual impairments. I mean, audio impairments as well. One of the tools that it's not in our tool set of our software, but one of the services that I'm also helping with is helping people make their videos closed captioned. And so we're embedding the closed captioning into the video so that they can put them as ads, they can put them on Instagram, they can put them on Facebook, they can put them on their website, and everything wherever they put them will be compliant for people with hearing disabilities. But then it even goes a little bit further where maybe somebody doesn't have a disability and they're on a train and they're in a noisy environment and they don't have headphones and they want to watch a video. It's closed caption, they can read along with it. So it's not just people with disabilities, it's everybody who needs accessibility and different tools for different purposes. So those are some of the reasons why I'm out there trying to let people know that a lot of these are invisible disabilities that you may know a bunch of people. You may know somebody who's colorblind. They're not going to tell you, but by having a button on the website that changes everything to black and white, they won't strain their eyesight as long, and they can utilize your site much longer, and then possibly convert into a long-term customer. So those are some of the things that we have to educate about and let people know that these tools are there for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic what you're doing, right, and what you're bringing to the table for people. Just because, and this is my personal experience, like of course, we know there are disabilities out there, and we see in certain places, like in physical locations, that they do, have all this compliance. But I've never thought of it honestly for the internet. Never in my so when I heard it, like make internet accessible for 100% of people, my thought immediately went to communities that they don't have access to the internet as a whole. And I think that's how probably majority of people see it. They're like, oh, if they have access, they can already access it, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, you present me with this new, insight, and I'm like, wow. So there's people that, even though they have technically access to the internet, they still cannot use it properly to the full potential, because there's so many things that they cannot, that they don't cater for them, right? And I was like, wow, that is crazy, honestly, crazy to think about. And that's where that 85 million people comes from, the headline that we said in this episode, right? Like, how to tap into an 85 million people audience, which it's a huge number, honestly.
And that's just the United States. If we have 330 million people on average in the US, almost 25% of those, that's the 85 million right there. That even if you go through and if you're spending money on ads and you're advertising your business and you're doing all this to get somebody to your website, even if you get them to your website, if they can't use it, then you're losing another 25% of those people that you've been able to get to your website if they were able to get through there. So
this is a question that just popped in my head. Two questions. First, why aren't more people talking about this, right? Like, why aren't people with people that has disabilities, right? Maybe are they afraid to share that they have certain disabilities and talk about it? Do they go through the websites, kind of like having a difficult time going through them? And then, actually, I forgot the second question. So let's just go with that one.
Yeah.
And okay.
well, I mean, a lot of people, that that need this, they tend to they use the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, part of the government in the U.S. They use them as a helper in order to, help them with their cause. So pretty much the ADA was started back in 1990, signed into law by President Bush back then, and it really pertained to the brick and mortar buildings and businesses because, some people in wheelchairs couldn't get into a building because they didn't have ramp access or, there was no parking. And so that's, almost everybody who drives probably knows what a handicap parking space is. Some people ignore the signs and park there anyway. But, those are some of the things that the ADA has really advocated for on behalf of people with disabilities. And so that's their job. And I think a lot of people with disabilities, if they need help, they go to the ADA to back them up because they're a government agency. And, unfortunately, some of the ways that the ADA has gone about this has really been, spraying businesses with litigation in order to create awareness. And they started with the big guys because back in 2017 was the first ever case that was deemed by a judge against a business. It was Winn-Dixie, and they were ordered to change their website to make it accessible for this one person who brought this lawsuit, against them. And the people that bring the lawsuits, they can't benefit monetarily through the lawsuits, but the ADA and the lawyers do, obviously. So if the company is fined, then the money goes to the ADA and helps fund the ADA. But since then, a lot of larger businesses like Chick-fil-A, Home Depot, Domino's Pizza. A lot of the large companies, they got hit right after this. Boom, 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 because the ADA said, okay, we need to make an example of these companies. And then so these large companies who have their own website developers, they went in and said, okay, we got to change it. But you know what they did? They went in, they looked at the standards for ADA compliance and said, okay, let's do the bare minimum. So if you go to, say, a Home Depot or whatever, you may not even notice that it's compliant, but there are certain standards where you have to have certain fonts, a certain size, certain contrast, certain things in order to become bare minimum ADA compliant. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's accessible to a lot of people that are going to need it. So, that's where, what I'm doing, we have software that goes even further and gives the ability to dynamically change the website and make it accessible. So after the large companies, got hit, they got smart. They just said to their on-site staff, change this. But then the littler guys, the mid-size, the smaller businesses started getting hit as well. And we all know as a small business, if we need to do something in our business, it costs us money. And to hire a web developer to go in and change your site costs money as well. So a lot of people are like, if they've heard about it, like, well, it's a far chance in that we're going to get a letter from the ADA, and we'll take our chances. And so that's what's been happening, and more littler businesses are now getting hit and need some kind of solution. So,
wow, that is first I find super interesting the whole story. I find extremely interesting the fact that the ADA Act was in 1990 that you said, and it wasn't until 2017 that big company was. I mean, probably there were some before, but you said that was like the biggest one at the moment. So that's 27 years. Spent 27.
Well, the internet got started in 95-ish.
All right, so 22 years.
So. And really just the past 5, less than 10 years, people really have gone online a lot more. Especially now, beginning of this year, boom, everybody's not going to the stores, they're going online for stuff. So even now is one of the most important times to really get this message out to people and businesses because of that. So.
100%. I think I was going to mention that. It's like now the world changed. Like, we've been talking about this for the last 4 months. I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was. There's a new future, right, in the way. And a lot of people have been going like purely online. It's not just websites. It's like work environments, right? It's all virtual. You see companies like Google, like Facebook, they're like, work from home. So all these people that have disabilities, right, there has to be some sort of like cushion, right, to hold them. And this is incredible. So I thank you for bringing this topic up. Love the story. And especially for smaller businesses, right? Because as we start building, sometimes when we first get started, we try to find, okay, what is the minimum I'm allowed to do? What is the things that I need to do? And I feel like this thing is something that everybody needs to do to make sure that everybody is included, right? So other than that, like getting in touch with you or, using your software, what are some things that people can start looking at today, right? First, by the way, get in touch with Tony. 100%. You have to. And so
there's no other solution.
There's no other solution. That's it.
There's just Tony.
There's just Tony. That's it. But let's say for some reason, right? They want to do their research. Like, what are some of the things that they can start looking for and to see if like their website is even accessible for these people?
Well, a lot of times if you don't have a developer building it from you from scratch and incorporating a lot of these things, you may have elements that are accessible. Maybe your font is a font that's considered readable, or your site just happens to have the right contrast of colors and things like that. But you really want to get an audit and make sure that, your settings are, coherent to the what it's called, the WCAG. It's the Worldwide Consortium of Web Development Standards for accessibility. And there's a whole list of things that you have to look at. And it's really time consuming. And if somebody wants to do it, they can go research it and figure out, if they have, their own web builder's website, or if they build websites and they want to go through these things. That's something that they can do themselves. What I'm trying to do is make it quick, simple, easy, and affordable for them by just saying, here's a header code, put it in your website, boom, you're connected to our servers, and all the tools are right there for you. So, in the past, and this kind of is a good lead into that story I was telling you about, we explain it to people in a way that they might understand it is, think of yourself as a contractor and you're going to build a house, and you get to the build site and there's 3 houses next to each other, and you have an opportunity to choose one of these houses that you want to work on. So the first house, they're going to give you all the wood and all the nails, but no hammer. You have to figure out how to get these nails in the wood with no hammer.
Yeah.
The second site, you're going to go there and they're going to give you all the wood and nails, but just a regular hammer, and you have to build this whole house with just a hammer. The third site you're going to go to, and you're going to get the wood, the nails, and they're going to give you a pneumatic nail gun.
Yes.
And so you can just bang, 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 and build that house.
Fonzie, get out of the way. I got that.
So which of those is that contractor going to want to work on? The same thing goes for, a website. Think of the houses as a website, and the contractor as a person going to the website, needing the right tools in order to build that house. They go to the first website and there's no tools, no accessibility, no way for them to really use it. So they're going to walk away. There's no way you can build a house without a hammer. If you go to the second house, you'll be able to get the job done, but it's going to be very straining. It's going to take you a lot longer, and you're really not going to be productive. And so there's a chance that you're going to give up before the house is even built. But if you go to the third site and you have the proper tools in front of you, and you can make, the pneumatic nail gun work to, how you work. You can make it slower, you can make it faster, you can adjust it so that way it works just for you. Then there's a good chance that you are going to go to that job site, enjoy what you're doing, complete the task at hand, and move on to the next build, which will be the next sale. So really, to complete that, to put that story together, I really want to help people understand from a different perspective what it's like for somebody who is disabled and who's going to a website and really wanting to build that house.
I love it. I'm sorry, Fonzie. I wanna play a little devil's advocate here, right? Because I can see it. It happens with all of us. It happens with us as well with content, like, whatever. So there's always going to be people that say, no, like, I don't need it. Who's going to come that's, idiot, whatever. I don't need it. What is your advice to those people that are like, that's super cool and everything, but I don't care?
It's funny that you asked me that because, as I started this business, the way that I craft my story and explain it to people has changed totally 180. It used to be, I used the tactic of, trying to spread the message by fear and saying, hey, if your site isn't ADA compliant, you may get a letter from the ADA, you may get, fines and possibly even a lawsuit against you. And, a lot of people took that route of like, I'm not going to get sued, I'll take my chances and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it really made me think of, why am I really doing this? What is really the main purpose? I'm not doing it so that businesses aren't going to get sued. If they want to get sued, if they want to take chances, they're going to not buy insurance for their business. They're not going to do the proper things anyway.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to, if you want to have a business that does, business an ethical way and the right way to help, your end customer, if you want to grow your business and not, leave money on the table and serve all people, then I think that's something that's really going to be at the heart of why you're going to do it. You're going to get the benefits of, being compliant and covering yourself there. You're going to get the benefits of having your site SEO even better. Google loves accessible websites and it helps them SEO. That's another benefit. But you're really going to get the benefit of doing the right thing for all people instead of just a small, a subset of the population. It's all about inclusion, and, we're all human beings. We're all different, and we want to embrace our differences and make sure that everybody gets their ability to do what they want to, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so I have like 3 points. Hopefully, I'll remember all of them as I go through them.
Do you write them down?
I do write them down. But
Good job, Jose.
first it's an idea. Well, before that, I think you just hit some really cool, like, learnable moments right now about marketing and sales, and we're gonna get to those. But first, idea. You might already do this. I don't know, but do like a free audit list for people, and that work it as a lead magnet. Oh, just saying, just throwing that out there. Who knows?
Yeah.
There we go. I love the facilitating story, right? At the end of the day, it is when you want to give the solution to someone and you want to make it easy on them, right? That's why the done for you programs are always more expensive than the do it yourself. Right, because you're facilitating and all that stuff, and I'm not saying like that the software, the price, or whatever. I'm not relating that to that story to that pricing. But the point here is, how can I make it so easy for the other person to implement, right? To do it, to take action, instead of like having a lot of friction in there. And then the last point, which I love, you talked about at first, kind of like marketing through fear, right? And the sale happens for two reasons: either to move away from fear or to move closer to pleasure, right? And you can decide which one you want to, like, in which way you want to market stuff, right? And I love how you took the approach of, I'm gonna take it closer to the pleasure side, right? Instead of like instilling fear in people, because I'm not gonna lie, as you were telling the story before of the litigations and stuff, I'm like, wow, how easy it probably is to instill fear in people in this topic, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, with your perspective, which is not a win-win situation, it's a win-win-win situation, because you're winning, your customer is winning, and your customers are winning too, right? That is definitely a moving closer to pleasure. So that is the learning point that I wanted to share with people. Think about how you're marketing. Are you marketing just to like with fear, or with pleasure? You're trying to just like push them away from fear, or just like move them closer to pleasure?
Yeah. I love the fact, Tony, that you put a picture in our heads, right? Because sometimes with these concepts, especially like on the online world, there's, some coding in the back end. I know nothing about coding. Like I am a very visual guy. So I found it very interesting that there's a captive, not only audience, but people that we can really help with these solutions, right? But on the back end, if we do technobabble, and sometimes I'm very guilty of the technobabble myself with content, you lose me, but you put it in very, like, in a perspective where I can understand it, right? So especially in topics like this, I do thank you for making the Three Houses story. We're gonna brand it that way. It's gonna be on the notes, the Three Houses story, because that was crystal clear to me. It was like, wow, that's it. So
power of stories and analogies, guys.
Yeah. So
that story debuted right here on Content is Profit.
Let's go. a special right here.
Yes. Amazing. So, for the audience out there, I know you came for Tony, but you also come, for the advice that we can probably give you. And I think what Tony is doing here with his marketing message, I mean, the thing that he's selling, I believe is one of the hardest things that you could sell. Like I had once, when we were preparing for this interview, I'm like, how is he doing this? How is he getting the message across? And I found very interesting that you transition your message from that fear to these stories and make it relatable, because everybody knows somebody that has that, that block to be able to access something. So I relate big time. For us, for the longest time, was the language barrier, right? It's like, how do we do that? And as you were explaining that, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And one example is Gary Vee. He just started to translate all his content, and now he's tapping into that market, right? And again, we're talking markets and stuff like that, but at the same time, we could look at all these people with disabilities as a market, because you're helping them with the value that you're providing, right?
I mean, you said 1 of 4 or 5 people has a disability that pretty much don't allow them to function, to their full potential. And if we think about it, that is, 20% of everybody, which is a lot, which means probably everybody knows someone that has certain disabilities.
Yeah.
So I think it's super powerful bringing this up, because it puts in perspective kind of like how big that market is that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, just think of the aging population. People in their 60s and 70s were around. They were younger, obviously when the internet started, and they're familiar with the internet and they use the internet a lot. It wasn't like when I was younger and my parents were like, "What's a computer? What's the internet?" I spent years of my spare time teaching my mom how to use a computer, and
we still do.
Super savvy right now, but there are people that aren't too much older than me, considered seniors, are using the internet more. And as you age, certain things happen, we all know, and you need more tools and accessibility. I remember, it's a funny little side story, not really funny, but when I was younger and I was helping my mom, the computer screens weren't as nice as they are now. They were small little 19-inch CRT, big huge mamma jammas, and glass fronts. And my mom, in order to be able to see the screen sometimes when the thing was really small, she bought this magnifying glass that was like,
oh my goodness,
big, and it was probably the size of a small book.
Yes.
And she used to hold it up to the screen and go back and forth in order to see the screen. And so, I'm remembering that, I'm like, holy cow, it really has changed with the times, and now we have the tools in order to embed in the websites in order to help people with that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I actually visited your website before hopping in this conversation, and that was the first thing that I noticed. Like, it popped up the panel on the side, and I was like, oh, what is so super random topic. Like, the other day I was actually on this other website called Marketing Examples, which is an awesome website, guys. Go visit it. But the menu is on the left side, right? So when I saw the panel on your website, I'm like, wow, like he has a website the same type as this other guy. That's pretty cool. And then I started looking at the buttons, and I was like, oh no, whoa, this is the actual software, the tool. How cool it is. So I started like pressing buttons and see how it reacted. Yeah, it like changes the website immediately. And I was like, this is super cool. This is amazing.
So for those listening, guys, we'll definitely leave all those links right in the description. We're gonna put it right here. If you guys can't find it, you can always send us a DM to go find it and experiment with that, because once you play with it a little bit on Tony's website, you're gonna understand what this is. It's gonna put that picture in there.
I feel wait before you go again. I have a question that you might not have an answer to, and it's okay. But I'm just curious. Is there a stat out there that talks about, how much money is left on the table by not catering to people with disabilities?
Oh gosh, you know what? I don't have the answer to that. I don't even know how you would measure that. It's got to be a lot of money, because if you think of all the money that's exchanged online and you just chop off 25% of
I was gonna say 25%,
or add an additional 25% of everything that is done, that's probably that's a lot of money that people could be getting.
I'm just asking because I would I would love, and the way you put it is perfect. 25% more, that you could be gaining, just so people get it in their minds, right? And from the monetary sense. But again, we are doing this to I also give access to people to more of the information that you, again, like my brother said, if you think your product is valuable, you want people to actually have it because it's going to make a difference in their lives.
And all those people are willing to pay, I'm sure. So again, before we get chewed up, to Fonzie's point right there, it's not just a sale, it's giving access to people, new opportunities, new value, things that they can also take advantage of to improve their lives. So awesome, so amazing. I want to transition, Tony, a little bit into how are you getting your message out? We listened to the story. I love the way that you transitioned your message, which is incredible. I feel like that's gonna, help understand this. If it helped me understand it, which I'm the worst learning ever. I'm very visual. I'm sure everybody else can learn it. So how are you getting your message out? What are you doing now? What's happening?
Well, I started this really full-time about 4 or 5 months ago. And I started with, just reaching out to people. I found out about ClickFunnels to market another philanthropic project that I was working on, a fundraising app. And so when I was doing that, I was looking for a developer, and I found this opportunity with this software. It was just really when I went full time with it in January, right before COVID hit and everything like that. So I started with just reaching out to a lot of the contacts that I met at Funnel Hacking Live and online and through networking. Being an entrepreneur, I'm a big networker. I used to face-to-face networking was how I grew lots of my businesses. I didn't really spend a lot of money on advertising or things like that. So that's what I figured I would start this business. And it's really about the message first. The sales will come, and I want to grow this business so that we can do a lot of great things with the business. But, it's really about, the learning curve. And right now there's not a lot of people. There's less than 10% of the population of the internet that have accessible websites in one way or another. And that includes the big guys who are bare minimum.
Wow.
The message curve, it starts out down here, and this is where we are. We're still at the beginning, and it's going to go up as more and more people hear about it. They're going to spread the word and spread the message through certain channels. And so once the channels start intermingling and spread the word, then we're going to get a lot more response back. So most of my my marketing has been through word of mouth, through organic type of marketing. But I've recently, and thankful to you guys, started, increasing my organic reach by, doing more video and more Facebook Live and things like that. So, and I'm about I'm 13 days into it.
Yes.
And it's becoming easier and easier, and I absolutely love it now. It's almost like an addiction. It's like, put me on, before this, put me on stage with 10,000 people, and I love it. I get the adrenaline rush, and I love teaching. I love spreading the message, but I can't do that now. So when I first sat in front of a camera with nobody around, I felt like I was talking to nobody. I was talking to a brick wall. But now that I really understand it, that I'm really talking to thousands of people that are watching it now or are going to be watching it to get that message out there. And it's a perpetual type of message. I've really learned to be able to be more confident and use that as part of my organic reach. And, hopefully I'm going to get to a point where we can start using ads and other paid type of traffic in order to, balance it out. So,
No, I love it. I mean, like you, many others, right? Everything starts with the relationships. We're huge fans of every relationship that we can build through our business, through the platform, you being one of them. And, with those many years of experience, what does the internet do is it multiplies that message, right? You can reach out to so many people, right? Somebody can see your video for 5 seconds. Like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. Let me reach out. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. I know somebody that might need this. So, we're talking the other day about being extrovert, right? Why extroverts are luckier is because they put themselves out there more than introverts, right? So, you know, sometimes Fonzie was a complete introvert, and look at him now, he's going crazy over here on the show every single day. And things happen, right? So I'm curious, like, have you noticed since you started publishing consistently any kind of change, or people reaching out, or more questions being asked, more conversations happening? What happened in the first like 13 days of you going live and publishing a little bit more?
Oh, it's been a total transformation, you know, and believe it or not, I am probably, you know, what I would consider an introvert. You know, I learned to find my voice as a DJ years ago because, you know, I'm quiet and shy and I like to keep it myself. And, you know, being in this time, you know, I spend a lot of time alone in my office, and I'm fine with that, you know, but when connect me with somebody, and then, you know, I come alive and I'm able to, you know, become that persona that I need to be. So, you know, what was I saying? I just lost my train of thought. But being a DJ really helped me years ago, because I used to get up on a stage and I had to perform. I had to announce the bride and groom and, you know, become that person that they needed me to be. And so that's what I started to use in my videos. But since I've been doing that, I've really, you know, just looking back 13 days ago, and some of the ones that I didn't even publish months ago that I tried, I got and I save them. Russell Brunson, he always says, "Don't throw away content," right, Fonzie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We learned our lesson.
Lesson learned there.
Thank you for rubbing it in my face.
Yeah. My favorite part of the show right now.
So I could totally see a change in, you know, my confidence and how I'm able to get my message out there. And it's really, as I get more confident myself, I find more and more people seeing the message and commenting and reaching back out to me. And I think it was yesterday or this morning, you know, I connected with somebody who saw my message and related to it, because she's like, yeah, I'm a business owner. I'm going through this mastermind with you online that we're doing right now. And she's like, you know, I can totally relate because I'm legally blind. And, you know, you would never know, because you see her on camera and, you know, she shows through, and she probably brings her persona to her videos as well. So, you know, I'm reaching more people. I'm connecting with more people. The more confident I get, the more confident people are with reaching out to me, and they're getting to know me personally through my videos. So I think that's really awesome, because I love then connecting back with them and getting to know them personally.
Yeah. That going back, and, you know, going back to that sense of community, which is what we were talking at the beginning, that philanthropic, you know, being part of the community, having that feeling of worth, kind of. Honestly, going live and making these connections, it gives you that, right? And I think the internet can be I don't know what is the right expression to say, but it's like a sword with like
double-edged swords.
A double-edged sword. Yeah, there we go.
Bro, stop learning Italian. You're forgetting English.
It's like a double-edged sword, because it can be very lonely, the internet, but at the same time, you can build some incredible relationships. And all it takes is to get out there, make the effort. You got to be proactive, right? And putting content out there, going live, and not only just going live, but starting these conversations with people. That's the being proactive side of it. And it leads to, you know, creating a community, you know, gaining new friendships, like here. Nostro amico Tony. There you go. So yeah, I think it's that's probably one of the biggest benefits that I've experienced from just putting yourself out there.
You know, it's an opportunity to share your passion, to share your message with people that need it, and then find those who need it and want it, right? So, you know, we wish you the best of luck. For sure, as soon as we get our website, everybody's like, where's Beast Bros website? I'm like, we literally have no website. Like, everything is social. So, you know, connect with us over DM. But as soon as that's up, we're going to definitely, Tony, we'll give you a phone call, and what's what we need to do. Cool. So before that, how do people, what's an action point that people can do today to start fixing this issue of being ADA compliant?
I'll take this one.
I want Tony to say it.
Hire Tony. That's it. That's it, guys.
Just go with Tony.
Just go with Tony. Nah, I'm kidding. Tony, the stage is yours.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the best ways, and I've really tried to make my website more of an educational experience rather than just a selling website. So definitely go to adacomplyguy.com. check out the software first of all, because the way I have it set it up, the toolbar opens up automatically, so you can obviously see it. If you have it on your site, you could just make it so that the widget is there. But there's a lot of content on that website that will help educate you. The more I figure out how to tell the story, like the story that I told today, I'm going to be doing more videos and bringing them over to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel actually has one of the videos that captured me in the beginning of this thing. It's actually just a news story that was done of a shoe store in a mall down in Florida. Wow. So it might even be close to where you guys are. I'm not even sure where in Florida it is. Clearwater, I think it was.
It's close. It's about 3 hours.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a shoe store in a mall. Okay. They were doing really well. They decided they want to sell shoes online. They got a $65 website, and then 4 months later, bam, they got a letter from the ADA. So, it tells their whole story about what they went through just because they didn't have a compliant website. So, I'm really trying to get the types of content out there to educate people about it. Whether they go and they buy from me right away, I hope they do so that we can help them get compliant. But a lot of times people need to be educated and understand it. Absolutely. But the more that one person understands and they go and buy it, they're going to tell their friends and their colleagues about it, and it's just going to grow. And so when people do hear website accessibility, they're not going to go think of, which I didn't even think. So thank you, Fonzie, of the idea of they don't have access to the internet, so they can't use the website. But it's really about accessibility on the website once they get to it. So it's about educating people. So go to the website, educate yourself, and if you have questions, they can reach out to me. I love talking to people one-on-one. If there's anything that I can do to help them.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Guys, you heard it. ADAComplyGuide.com.
Yeah,
check it out.
We'll leave the link right in the description. You can just scroll down if you're listening and just click it right there on your phone, or when you get home. No, but do it now. All right. Tony, dude, oh man, this is exciting for me because we've seen your progress since the day we met you, and it's very exciting. But where will you be if you did not publish?
Not where I am now. I would probably, I'm one to not want to give up. I would probably still be spinning my wheels, not knowing as many people. Just in the past, week and a half of doing more live video content. But I've also done other content. I've put myself out there on Instagram, on Facebook, my website, connected with people directly and things like that. So that's all, content that, I'm going to repurpose, because content is profit. I totally would not be as far ahead as I am. And, some days are a struggle and it's kind of deflating some days where it's like, okay, I talked to all these people, but we didn't get any sales today, but then, the next day I get a call from, an international company that makes soccer goalie gloves. And they're like, hey, we need your help. And those are the big things that are like, oh my God, my message is getting out there. Yeah. It's all worth my time. So, I can see growth, and I've done this in my other businesses too. When I feel deflated and I'm like, oh, should I continue going? Is this even worth it? All I do is turn around and I look back and see where I was a month ago. And I'm like, wow, look at how far I've come in such a short period of time. Yeah. How far am I going to be in another month?
Wow.
Keep on going.
Yes.
So, and that's really one of the mindset tricks that I've used over the years to really, keep moving forward. Wow. And that's a quote from the Disney movie, Meet the Robinsons, by the way.
Yes, love it.
I love that last, golden nugget right there. Just because, I felt it sometimes too, feeling being deflated, like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to do it. I prefer just lay in my bed, all comfy. But then you look back and you're like, wow, like look at what we're creating. So thank you for bringing that up. I encourage everybody to just turn around and look at what you've accomplished.
Yeah,
I geek out on mindset tricks and different things, and
yes,
love giving back to other entrepreneurs.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Then you're gonna love Catherine Jones.
Yes.
Episode from today. It was awesome. Yeah, it's like
I can't wait to listen to the replay all the way through tomorrow morning on my 5-mile walk.
There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome,
dude. Tony, it has been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for sharing. All your stories, your knowledge.
No, thank you. Grazie.
Grazie.
Tony.
Grazie for opening like this wide door to this new world to us, right? And I really hope people listening and business listening go ahead and take action. We don't like the fear tactic, but that's always something that's there. You don't want to go through that process. It is a pain in the butt. And on top of that, the big thing is that you're helping a ton of people. You're helping them seeing your solution, see your product, just imagine how happy they will be with your product in their hands. And it's just wins everywhere.
Yeah, you're going to be helping more people. You're going to be having peace of mind. So that's a big win right there.
Awesome. Tony, we've said your website a couple times. Where can people find you? We have adacomplyguy.com. Where can they connect with you too? I understand you have a Facebook group. We might not been on there chatting for a little bit the other day.
Yeah, my Facebook group is actually the Entrepreneurial Journey, and I kind of do that as my way to give back, and I connect with other entrepreneurs that are growing a business or trying to get to that next level, and give a lot of those those mindset nuggets. I've put together a 3-pillar framework: mind, body, and business. So I talk about mindset, I talk about healthy living tips and things, and then obviously the business side. And I do my own interview show on there, which you guys have been on as well. So
Thank you.
It's a way for me to give back and connect with more people. So it's called the Entrepreneurial Journey, and feel free to check it out if you'd like.
Sweet.
Awesome, guys. We encourage you to, again, go check out his website and join his Facebook group.
Yeah. So, Tony, don't leave. We got 2 minutes with you. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit.
Arrivederci.
Hit smash that subscribe button. And don't forget, follow us on social media.
That is right, guys.
Grazie.
And if you find this episode
Arrivederci.
impactful, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review.
5.
Grazie. Grazie,
Adios.
tutto bene.